Hello everyone, it looks like we have a new update coming next week and a teaser to go along with it. There's tons inside of this teaser, so let's get straight into it, guys. Within the teaser, we are shown to a brand new location existing inside the pocket dimension that Ethereals Island resides in the My Singing Monsters game. This is beyond exciting because we've never had a new area be revealed before besides an island. We don't really know much about the monster world and different locations and things, so seeing this come forward is really exciting, and it just makes you think, hey, is this something that we could see with future teasers? And how exactly is this going to relate to the update? Now, we do have a bit of information thinking about the logistics of things and what's going on in this teaser, as we're about to get into now, but just thinking about the prospect of more locations in the monster world existing is really exciting. When we got the teaser, it was announced that strange silhouettes have been roaming around this area, and the Ethereals have warned two monsters who are teleporting across there to be careful during intradimensional travel as they are coming across to Ethereals Island. Now, what's important as well is that we know that it must exist within the northeast region from Ethereals Island, therefore within the pocket dimension, as that is the area where the monsters will be transported across from. If we have a look here and I show you a diagram, it is this line which the Ethereals will travel across when coming from the natural island. So therefore, the new location must exist within that area for you lore lovers out there. Seeing as though it's been noted that strange silhouettes have been coming across here, though, it does mean that new monsters must be roaming around this area, definitely, as otherwise the Ethereals would know about which monster was roaming around this area and it wouldn't be so obscure, whereas they can't pinpoint what monster it is, so clearly it's a brand new monster. If we have a look at the loading screen as well, we can see a new monster towards the bottom. We don't know what this monster is. It does look like Epic Geode, so maybe it's not tied into this. However, it does also look really new, so maybe it is tied into a new monster that we may be seeing in relevance to this new area. Anyway, let's go over the teaser itself then, because otherwise we won't be getting anywhere, because the teaser has tons of stuff we need to dissect to get over what this update is going to entail. In the back, we have a thingier backdrop. Now, this is from the Thumpies game, a spin-off title from My Singing Monsters, set in the My Singing Monsters multiverse, and it's really interesting because it's the exact same as what is found within Thumpies. We don't know how it's got there and what exactly it has in relevance to the location, and whether it's going to be to do with the lore of this location or whether it's just there. It's definitely interesting from a lore standpoint how it got there. I hope it is explained, because that is really significant, that being there, as it means that there may be a bit of intradimensional overlap going on here, and that dimensions may be accessed by some means within this location, which is very, very interesting from a lore standpoint. So I hope that they explore that within the update. I have no doubt that all of this will come forward in the update. There's definitely so much lore found within this, as we're going to get into in a moment. Okay, let's get into it now. To the front, we have a statue of Ghast. They are holding an orb, each one of the Ghasts. Unfortunately, the back one is damaged, the one of Epic Ghast. However, they are also holding their orb as well. If you have a look to the front, you can see their arm holding out towards where the orb would have been if it wasn't damaged. So it does appear as though it's in the same stance, even though it's damaged the top bit. Now, you can tell this one is Epic Ghast, as the bottom two limbs are present, and we know that only Epic Ghast has two limbs at the bottom of their body. We have one overlapping the top of the basket and one going underneath the basket, alike to the rest of them. So even though it's damaged, we can work out that it is Epic Ghast. To the front, we can see Ghast once again, like I've mentioned, hugging their orb. They seem very content with what's going on. The Ghast statues are from Furcorn's Jelly Dreams. A piece of artwork that was made for Ghast from Furcorn's Jelly Dreams has been used here with the statues, and it's interesting because we've never seen these pieces of artwork be used for the main game or anything outside of Furcorn's Jelly Dreams. Each one of the statues has a basket, and on the basket we can see a location, a geographical map of something, pointing out a specific location that may be significant to this location, and us discovering whatever update is going to come out of next week, hopefully. Ghast has many arms, and they're circular like structures coming out of their body, which is really unlike to Epic Ghast at the back, which unfortunately as a variant doesn't have as much going for it with it being in a dilapidated state, but we all know it's Epic Ghast from the limbs at the bottom, so it's okay. The location is very reminiscent of the Ethereal dungeons from Gemma Splash. If we have a look at the paths and the way it's laid out, you can see it's a very go to this location like area where you're following the path along in this new area. So you can see that this likely did take quite a bit of inspiration from Gemma Splash. The Ethereal dungeons in Gemma Splash were a set of levels, a location inside of Gemma Splash where a set of levels were present that you could complete each week and they'd reset and you get a reward from it. So perhaps we're going to see a similar kind of thing in here, and we're going to be seeing this location be present in game in some form. I don't think it'll be structured quite like this. I think this is more contextual towards what we can expect in the update itself rather than an actual location we'll be exploring in game. But I would certainly point towards that being a possibility, as the puzzle mechanics could easily be intertwined into this and we could easily see something new from that in terms of rewards that we could receive in completing puzzles within this new location, whatever it may look like. The statues themselves have a pedestal at the bottom of them, indicating that they are in fact decorations. However, I am going to contradict against this, as if we have a look at the Wobbling and Celestial statues, we can see that they have cracks to the sides of them emerging from them, and if we have a look at these in fact have cracks emerging from them too. If we have a look at the boss monument and other statues found in game, like the spirit statue, we can see that those don't in fact have cracks coming from them, indicating that these in fact are encased Ethereals, which is so exciting, and I really can't state enough how exciting that is, because the prospect of Ethereals being encased intertwines into the lore of the game. And you know what, guys? We have never heard about where the Ethereals originated from. We've not heard about the Magicals, where they originated from, the Sugar Fam, and so forth. And getting to see the Ethereals and their origin is going to be really exciting, as no matter what, I think they really do have to explore the origin of the Ethereals here, as it's a main key point that is being pointed out here. And as we've been over, those cracks only emerge from encased monsters, indicating that this must be where the Ethereals originated from. If they are indeed encased Ethereals, it brings up the question, how did the Ethereals come into fruition in the main game? We know that as the player we can breed them on the natural islands, and that is completely fine, and we don't need to revive them or anything along those lines. So why is it the case here that they are still encapsulated? Is this the remains of what was when the Ethereals were revived by an unknown entity? Who knows? But I definitely think this is something to do with the Ethereals from the Dawn of Fire era. I also think it's important to point out here what has happened prior to this, as we know from the origins of the Celestials and Wobblins that some lore has to have gone into this, as we know the Wobblins were made by Wobox, and we know that the Celestials ran out of energy on Celestial Island. So it brings up the question, what happened to the Ethereals to bring them to this state? If you were to ask me, I would say that it was the case that they ran out of energy. If we have a look at their expressions here, you can see that they're very content and happy, like a bean over hugging their orb, and they are showing an expression alike to what the Celestials do. If we have a look at the Wobblins, they are very generalized, they don't have any expression within them. So going from that, it would make sense that they haven't been made from a maker, but instead of being de-energized, as if we have a look at the Celestials, they appear to be in the state that they were in prior to them being dormant. So once they were alive in Dawn of Fire, on Stonehenge still in the sky before they went dormant, that is probably the state that they were in, and then they were just frozen in that state. And I would say that that's the same here, going from the expression that they are in, these Ethereals, or rather the gas that we find along this line. We know that dormant monsters require energy to be revived or woken up, depending on what context we're going on here, and whether they've been created from a maker or whether they have indeed been de-energized and have just run out of energy through time. I'd say they've run out of energy through time, so we'll go off from the revival route, and that would indicate that we are going to have to revive these eggs through some means. If we have a look at Celestials, we know they are intertwined to their elements, and that would indicate that we may need to put Ethereal eggs into these to revive them within this location. We don't know how that's going to fit into the main game whatsoever, and what location these monsters will exist in terms of the island that they will reside on and the song that will come forward from it, perhaps. But the fact that we have the Ethereal Island path still remaining on here indicates that this is indeed something tied to Ethereal Island itself, and that it isn't tied to a new island. Which brings a lot to question, and I feel like, honestly, as we keep going through all of these points, it just brings up even more questions rather than any answers, to be honest. Which is honestly great, because that means that there's more to be excited about, because we don't really know much about what's going on here. The statues could be purchased through Ethereal Island. That is definitely a case that we should mention, as Ethereal Island is being shown here, the pathway that is existent on Ethereal Island. We don't know whether Ethereal Island will be intertwined into this, and this is a location that will be accessed via Ethereal Island in order to obtain these. It is very contextual, this. It doesn't appear to be of relevance to the update itself. It's not particularly a location, I feel like, that we're going to be exploring within game. It seems to be something that we're going to explore in the trailer or something along those lines. If we were to receive statues on Ethereal Island, seeing as though we've already got all these monsters, and yes, it would be cool to explore the origins and everything. If we're going to explore the origins, however, I think it would be a perfect time to go over what exists beyond the Ethereal class that we know right now. We don't know whether there is more Ethereals out there. Feng Prey was stated to be the last Ethereal, but that's not really canon. We don't really know much about the origin of the Ethereals themselves, so I would say that it's definitely 100% probable that we could see a new Ethereal emerge from this. If we have a look at the Big Blue Bubble website, it was previously stated that Ethereal Island is going to be expanded upon, so going from that, it looks as though we may be seeing more Ethereals on Ethereal Island, as that would make the most sense going from that statement, as this would be the perfect time to add them, and if they're not going to add them now, when are they going to have them? We're clearly planning to add them sometime in the future, and this teaser is indicating towards Ethereal Island having more inhabitants, so clearly I would sway towards the idea that we are going to be getting more Ethereals from this, and seeing a statue and breeding mechanic existing on an island would definitely mix things up and make things interesting. I think we should also, however, look at the baskets indicated on the monsters themselves. As I've mentioned, it does show a location, and I did mention how it should be of relevance to this update or whatever's going on here. And if we have a look at the location in the basket, I would say that the location is linked towards where this energy needs to come from in order for these statues to be revived, or rather, whatever these gas want fulfilling, this fulfillment wish that they may have had upon them becoming dormant, maybe this is something to do with that. They seem very happy with what's going on before they went dormant, so they must have been aware of what was going to happen and the consequences of it, and content with what was happening. So I would assume that the happiness that they're feeling may be intertwined into the basket, and them knowing that they have fulfilled their purpose in getting the message across, maybe towards what they want to happen from this point. On the loading screen, furthermore, this could indeed be a new Ethereal, or whatever we're going to be discovering here. It doesn't necessarily have to be an Ethereal here, what we're investigating either. We've been over how it could be a maker. This could be the maker of the Ethereals that we could be exploring here on Ethereal Island, which would be an interesting topic to explore. What if there's more than one creator? We don't know. And that would be certainly game-changing, wouldn't it? Thinking about how the Ethereals were created from something, that would completely change the perspective of things in terms of the laws. Seeing as though we're exploring the origin of the Ethereals here as well, I think it would be the perfect chance for them to add more Ethereals. If they're going to add any, they're going to add them now over any time. I mean, people have been asking for Ethereal quad and triple elementals since like the beginning of Ethereal Island, so I feel like this would be a good time to add them if they're ever going to add them. That would bring up the question though of how would they substitute in that many monsters, as there are many combinations that would exist from it. Would they just bring in a limited amount of new Ethereal monsters or not? And the big question is as well, is this anything to do with Ethereals at all, or a brand new class? It is certainly related to the origin of the the Ethereals, I would say, judging from what we know and how statues of encapsulated monsters feature cracks on them and then regular decorations don't. Going from that fact, I would say that while we're exploring this origin story, they could easily add a new class of monster that maybe helped the Ethereals overcome their encapsulation and go from being encapsulated to the Ethereal Island that we know of in the Pocket Dimension right now. It could easily, to this location, hint towards a new location that could be accessed across Ethereal Island to get monsters. We've brought up the Ethereal dungeons and the reward that you would get from completing puzzles inside of that in Gemma Splash. This could easily be something similar, and it would be cool to see a new location just existing that isn't an island inside of the game as well, as we've never encountered that before. So I feel like that would be really cool, and seeing another way to get monsters as well on an island would be really, really cool, especially with how Ethereal Island is already so unique. Adding even more uniqueness to it would make it so much more cooler, and that would be really exciting as well. I think it is somewhat likely seeing a new area come out of this, and you being able to go from Ethereal Island to this new location to unlock these new monsters. I see that being as probable. It could also be a new Ethereal Island. We know that they're in the Ethereal space, the Pocket Dimension. We know that there could be other islands out there just going from this location. We didn't know there was anything beyond Ethereal Island, so just going from that fact alone, it's easy to wonder, is there more Ethereal-like islands out there with Ethereal monsters? It's certainly up to question, but I think it would be something interesting to explore. We don't know what's coming next after the magical islands. This could be something that they could adventure into for this year, which would be very exciting. I think this area is going to be much more story entwined, which is going to be a lot more exciting, going from how the Ethereals Origin story may be explored. I would say that it's going to be much more story-based, regardless of what is going on here, whether the statues are decorations or what. We have the thingy background going on here. We have statues here, which just bring up a lot to question, and regardless of what's going on here, we will see a lot of story elements coming forward from this, I would say. I've said before how this is very contextualized. It appears to not be a part of the update itself, this location. However, it could just be a new location that is just going to be a part of a trailer or something along those lines. It could be in the description of a new monster that is coming to Ethereal Island that this is where they originated from. They originated from, let's call it, the Thingia domain for now. So the Thingia domain could just be a part of the trailer, like I've said, where the Ethereals' origins are explored. And what would be interesting about the trailer is too, I feel like they can't go away from the origin story of the Ethereals inside of the trailer. So I feel like Dawn of Fire would have to be of relevance in the trailer and would have to be brought up, which would be really cool as well, and getting to explore the lore inside of that. And I think as well with this teaser, I think it's important to point out how Dawn of Fire or My Singing Monsters isn't shown in the corner of the screen. It's not revealed what is going on here, whether it's part of the My Singing Monsters game or the Dawn of Fire game. So it's up to you what is going on here. Obviously, I would say it's from My Singing Monsters. We can see the background and everything is from My Singing Monsters, but this could easily allude towards a Dawn of Fire connection here. I've seen people saying how it could be a mirror Ethereal Island, and I want to put a stop to this right now because the mirror dimension doesn't exist within the Pocket Dimension of Ethereal Island. The mirror dimension is a completely other dimension that isn't coinciding with Ethereal Island. This is a location located outside of Ethereal Island, so therefore it can't be mirror Ethereal Island. And as for it being an Ethereal Island skin, well, yeah, I can sort of see that being a possibility here. However, I think that's very unlikely as well. We have a completely new location being revealed here, and yes, while skins are a new location, I feel like the statues here are just too much, and the finger reference in the background, there's too much going on, and it points out that this is just not a skin, this is something else, especially from all the references being made here. There's far too much for a skin to handle. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. You may have noticed that I have got a bit of a cold. I pulled through for you guys though. I couldn't go on with this teaser being out there and me not making a video on it because it's such an impactful teaser and there was so much to dissect in this. I could not go on without doing a video. And there's just so many opportunities for them to delve down in this update. We went over loads in here. It's not even confirmed whether they are in fact dormant, these Ethereals that are being featured in the teaser. It could easily be just decorations, and this could just be a new location that we're going to be seeing that is involved in the update itself. There's just so many options, and I'm really excited to see what it goes down this update. I would be most into seeing the origin of the Ethereals though, as that is an avenue that I would love to see, is exploring the origin of monsters in My Singing Monsters, as obviously we've seen the fire monsters as origin, and the natural monsters and things like that, and the celestials and the wobblins, let's not forget those, and Warbox, sort of. Seeing the actual origin of monsters that we haven't seen the origins for, like the sugar farm and the magicals, they just came out of nowhere, we don't know where they came from. Seeing the lore behind those will be really exciting if that's the avenue where they're going down. I think that that is where they may be going down, which is why I expressed my opinions today, but who knows? It could go either way. Many of you have pointed out that the loading screen teaser looks a lot like Epic Geode. Maybe that is for Epic Geode, maybe this is something else. Even if it's just for Epic Geode, all of this description and everything we've been over today will be so exciting to check out in Epic Geode's description, and I honestly wouldn't put it down to being Epic Geode, however, as I think something else is going to emerge out of this. We know that My Singing Monsters has been on Steam lately, and that's likely been taking up the developers' time. However, we've not had an update in a while, and we've not had any for Extravaganza, so I would probably say that we are going to be getting an update real soon, and this would be a perfect time to tie into it, and the fact that we didn't just see Epic Geode on Fandomonium definitely points out that this is something else going on here. There's no saying. Let me know down below what you think is going on in this teaser. What can we expect this week? Is it just Epic Geode? Let me know down below. I know that. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and to subscribe down below too, so you don't miss any more videos from me, especially with this supposed new update arriving this week. If it is just for Epic Geode though, thank you developers for putting teasers on instead. That is so much better.